tattooed white supremacist who injected his 16-year-old babysitter with a fatal dose of heroin and meth has incredible courtroom makeover for first day of trial. At opening statements today in the trial of Eric Millerberg, 38, his dramatic makeover was in stark contrast to his appearance in April 20, 12. The Ogden, Utah man is accused of killing his 16-year-old babysitter with an overdose of heroin and meth. He is also accused of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor desecration of a human body. Prosecution claim that he dumped her body in a rural riverbed. His wife, DEA Millerberg, is expected to testify against him this week. She has been charged with desecration of a dead body and is awaiting trial. A racist heroin addict accused of killing his 16-year-old babysitter with a drug overdose arrived in court today in Utah, almost unrecognizable from his first unkempt appearance in 2012. A suited and clean-shaven Eric Millerberg, 38, was led into court in Ogden to face homicide charges for the death of 16-year-old Alexis Rasmussen, who died in 2011. Gone was his unkempt beard, while his tattoo, which boasted his membership of the Silent Aryan Warriors and read simply Death, was hidden by his shirt collar as he pleaded not guilty to felony child abuse homicide. Prosecutors claim that Millerberg had a drug-fueled, sexual relationship with Alexis Rasmussen and his wife, DEA Millerberg, that caused the girl's death in September 2011. Millerberg, 40, is expected to testify against him this week. She says her husband gave Rasmussen an intentionally fatal mix of drugs without her knowledge. Defense attorney Randall Marshall asked the jury to look at the evidence according to the Salt Lake Tribune. "It's a terrible, terrible tragedy," Marshall said of Alexis' death. "The fact that she is dead does not make Eric Millerberg guilty of anything. No one has more motivation to lie than DEA Millerberg," Marshall told jurors. At his preliminary hearing in April 2012, Eric Millerberg said after Rasmussen accidentally died, the couple panicked and dumped her body in a remote part of Morgan County, Utah. The teen's body was found 5 weeks after her disappearance. Today, as opening statement remarks began in court, the mother of Rasmussen openly wept as prosecutors described what they claim Millerberg did to her daughter. "He put her in a garbage bag," Deputy Weber County Attorney Chris Shaw told the jury, pointing at the defendant, Eric Millerberg. "She died in his home after he injected her with heroin and methamphetamine. That's what the evidence will show. Millerberg did nothing to try and save this young girl," said Shaw according to KSL. "He did not call 911, he did not try to involve police or call an ambulance. He did not take her to the hospital. He did nothing." The prosecution said that Millerberg injected Rasmussen with lethal doses of heroin and meth while she was supposed to be babysitting on September 10, 2011. Millerberg, 38, is charged with child abuse homicide, a first-degree felony, in Alexis' disappearance and death. He is also facing charges of obstruction of justice, unlawful sexual conduct with a minor and abuse and desecration of a human body. In April 2012, it was revealed that Millerberg had altered a tattoo that once honored the wife who is now testifying against him. Instead of DEA, his tattoo now reads Death, and it is unclear when he had the marking changed. The same month, at his preliminary hearing, his wife told a court in Utah that the couple spent a weekend with the babysitter that involved drugs and sex. The couple got high and had oral sex with the teenage babysitter who died that night. However, fellow members of Millerberg's racist gang are believed to have become disgusted with his alleged grooming techniques involving young girls and drugs. One previously anonymous member, identified now as Eric Smith, became so affronted by his behavior that he has been identified as the police informant who tipped them off to the location of the body. "I wanted the family to have closure," Mr. Smith said. "Then again, they came at me and said they knew about my involvement in it and that they'd give me immunity if I helped them. New details also painted a grisly picture of the body itself when it was finally found, as Detective Mike Tribe said that Alexis's corpse was found kneeling face down, covered in brush in a rural part of Morgan County. He said that her neon toe-nail polish, ankle bracelets and jawline helped identify her. DEA Millerberg said that they started using Alexis, or Lexi as she called her, as a babysitter for their 2 daughters in the spring of 2011. They became friends and started drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana with the teen before Alexis began requesting that they try harder drugs like methamphetamine and heroin. Eventually they even began paying Alexis with meth. One of their most raucous nights as a group came in August, a month before her death, when Alexis reportedly asked to become sexually involved with the married couple. "Eric and I started kissing and having sex. Then Alexis jumped in," Mrs. Millerberg told the court. On the fateful night of September 10, the couple wanted Alexis to babysit because they were going to go shopping for their daughter's birthday. Neither babysitting nor shopping ended up happening. As soon as Alexis arrived at the house, Mr. Millerberg helped her get high by injecting her with drugs, once with heroin and twice with meth, into her arm and neck. Then, when she was as high as she had ever been, she and her husband performed oral sex on one another. Mrs. Millerberg says that she was not involved in the encounter. A short while later, the drugs had a negative effect on the teen and she started freaking out. She reportedly felt disoriented and cold, so she asked if she could take a warm bath in the couple's master bathroom. After leaving her alone in the bath at her request, the Millerbergs checked on her about 45 minutes later to find that she was still cold, so Mrs. Millerberg wrapped her in a blanket and told her to lie down in another bedroom. The couple left her to go smoke some cigarettes, and returned about a half hour later to find her unresponsive. She wasn't breathing. She had mucousy stuff coming out of the right side of her mouth, said Mrs. Millerberg, who was a licensed nurse and tried to resuscitate the girl to no avail. They then tried to figure out what to do next. It really was a panic. The idea of it was, we will lose our kids and go to jail, and there was nothing we could do to bring her back, she told the court. Mr. Millerberg was on parole at the time for prior burglary and firearm charges, and he was also known to be part of the Silent Aryan Warriors, a white supremacist prison gang. Mrs. Millerberg, who also had outstanding court dates due to her involvement with 2 unrelated prescription drug fraud and child endangerment cases, says that she dressed the then naked body of Alexis and put it into a Foot Locker which the couple moved into a box in the trunk of their car. Leaving their 6-year-old daughter at home but taking their toddler with them, they drove all over the place disposing of any evidence that may connect them to the crime. They dumped her body in a remote area of Morgan County where Mr. Millerberg covered it with brush and shrubs so that it was hidden. Police only found it 6 weeks after Alexis' death with the help of a confidential tip from Eric Smith, one of Mr. Millerberg's gang members. Moving on to the remaining evidence, they left Alexis' purse in one dumpster with the box that had held the body, then drove to a different dumpster where they left the carpet from the car in case there was any evidence on it.